Going Celtics for the series still, eh?
Sticking with the Celtics, yes. I don't like to change.
Interesting, interesting. All right. All right, Benny, I'm doing some information, I'm doing some research, right? And looking at different stuff. And on my Niners, we have two players who are fifth-year option players. We're talking about Nick Bosa, right? And Deebo Samuels. And so that means they both have a year sort of contract. They're under contract, you know what I mean?
Right.
It was funny. I started thinking to myself, I wonder if at some point these, well, I'm going to say the NFL, when they're putting these contracts together, but they're going to put a poison pill in for the guys who get to their fifth-year option, and then all of a sudden now they want something more and different, So I'm looking, poison pill being, and I don't know what that could be, but I mean, if you're going to hold, if you have a contract, you're under contract, we have this option for you the fifth year. Now all of a sudden you don't want to show up to, mini camp, you don't want to practice, you're not going to do this and all of this kind of stuff because you want the extension beyond the fifth year, So a poison pill would be something that would avoid that. But then as I'm doing some research, I'm noticing that I found out that there's a whole nother part of this fifth-year option that I had not really understood. So I'm at overthecap.com.
Right.
We're looking here at what's called fifth-year option projections. And the first thing that jumped out to me was that the fifth-year option was actually part of the collective bargaining agreement for the NFLPA, the union. And, you tend to think about, contract negotiations as being, between the player and the team, but that third party contract from the union is also playing a part in what's being offered. And that kind of threw me a little bit. So then I come here over to Cap and I'm looking and I'm seeing where in the union situation, they have actually, move this here. Okay. There's actually 4 payment levels or contract levels available. And there's criteria for these 4. So I'll just read it right here again. You have people who are listening on a podcast. And it says here, the 2020 collective bargaining agreement allows for teams to exercise a fifth-year option for players drafted in the first round as an addition to the standard 4-year rookie contract. Article 7, Section 7G provides for 4 different tiers of salary for the fifth-year option, calculated as follows, okay? So you got basic play time, 1 Pro Bowl, and greater than 1 Pro Bowl. So as you can see, if you look at the chart to the right, for Kyler Murray, who's with the Cardinals position at quarterback, they have the greater than 1 Pro Bowl highlighted in green, and it's 29,703,000. Now the 1 Pro Bowl was 27,186,000. The play time was 22,384,000, and the basic was 19,646,000. So between the basic at 19 and the greater than 1 Pro Bowl, that's $10 million differential right there. Just looking across it for quarterbacks. Now again, the different positions have different levels that they're paid for the position itself. When you look over to the left, you see basic. So a player now this is real contract language. This will take you back to our days with the phone company and all the CWA contracts and all the stuff. Players who do not meet any of the requirements below will be eligible for a fifth-year base salary calculated from the average of the 3rd to the 25th highest salaries at their position over the past 5 seasons. The average.
Okay, so basic means just that.
Yeah, you don't qualify for any of the playtime, the Pro Bowl, or the Pro. So if you don't qualify for any of those three, you're left at basic pretty much.
So to qualify for the Pro Bowl, you have to make a Pro Bowl.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now, let me mention, I thought it was interesting that it was the Pro Bowl and not all pro.
No. No. All pro is way harder to make.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I mean, they actually, it was helpful toward the player to say Pro Bowl, but this is, you'll see in the Pro Bowl, there's some other stuff. Let's look at playtime real quick, which is the second tier. In playtime, it says these players will be eligible for a 5th-year base salary calculated from the average of the 3rd to the 20th. So now in playtime, your amount goes up because you're not going down to the 25th highest. You're only going down to the 20th. 3rd to the 20th highest salary at their position over the past 5 seasons. All right, so you got 5 years worth of salaries here. I mean, you need a computer anyways to calculate this stuff. Provided that their snap counts over the first 3 seasons meets one of the following 3 criteria. So they had to either have 75% or greater in 2 of their first 3 seasons, an average of 75 or greater over all 3 seasons, or at least 50% or greater over all 3 seasons.
Which makes perfect sense. That measures your value to the team.
Well, this is what the union, this is how they negotiated. So right. Now when you think about it, the agent sitting down with the team, trying to negotiate a salary, or a contract for a rookie, this now comes into play in right. terms of what they're thinking, about when they do this. Now, again, it's the 5th-year option. And because it's a 5th-year option, they're not contracting to say what they're going to get in the 5th year. So they're going to get everything they mostly up front. But now this 5th-year option comes, and this is where a lot of the players now.
Right, but they help themselves by making a Pro Bowl or 2 or whatever, and by securing.
Let's talk about the Pro Bowl. It says here
5 to 50% of the. Go ahead.
1 Pro Bowl. Players who are named to exactly 1 Pro Bowl on the original ballot, not as an alternative, will be eligible for a 5th-year base salary equal to the transition tender at their position. Now you go into a whole nother chart, and I'm going to go to that chart in a minute. But let's go to the multiple Pro Bowls, which is next. And it says here, players who are named to 2 or 3 Pro Bowls on the original ballot, not as an alternative, will be eligible for a 5th-year base salary equal to the franchise tender at their position.
So am I to assume that when they mention franchise tender, they're talking about the same rules that apply if they want to put a franchise tag on a veteran player?
Kind of, sort of. It's all charted out. And again, remember I said I wanted to see, what these values are, especially the franchise tag for the different positions. So here is that information nicely put together. So in the first one, if you make 1 Pro Bowl and you're the quarterback, that transition tag is valued at for 2022, it's valued at $27,186,000. In 2023, the transition tag will be $28,337,000. So like you think about a Lamar Jackson, right? He's made probably more than 1 Pro Bowl. So for his 5th-year option, they would offer him $29,700. and he'd look at the top quarterbacks in the league and say, they're making 40, buddy. I'm not coming to practice.
Well, they're not making 40 for 1 year.
Well, in Aaron Rodgers' case, he's making 50 for like.
Oh, I'm sorry. We're talking about quarterbacks. Yeah, you're right. You probably, yes. I'm sorry. Absolutely.
You know, so there you have a differential in what, you know, in the what the top guys are making. Now, I don't know. I'm looking at this chart, and I don't know if the signing of an Aaron Rodgers would change these numbers, and maybe this chart needs to be updated. Not quite sure. Overthecap.com is pretty much on top of things. But 29.7 does not look like the average of the top 5 quarterback salaries.
Not at the moment, no.
Not at the moment. So, and again, remember, well, however, you know, this could be calculated a little bit different, but I'm not quite sure. In any event, I thought it was interesting to see, and also to have an opportunity to, again, kind of look at the different valuations. Let's look at 2022 through the positions on the franchise tag side. So we might as well go, that's the highest paid. So your quarterback is $29,703,000. The next highest, right underneath, is the linebacker, $18,702,000. Wide receivers are coming in at $18,419,000. Your D end is coming in at $17,800. Your D tackle is coming in at $17,300. Your cornerback at $17,200. Your O-line at $16,600. Your safeties are making $12,900. What did they just sign Minkah Fitzpatrick for?
I don't know how much, but he did just sign. Yeah. He's the highest paid safety now.
Yeah. So again, that just happened. I know these charts couldn't have been updated with that already. Safeties are making more than tight ends. I'm surprised, but again, you know, thanks to people like Kittle and Kelsey, that's going to change, I believe, or at least maybe it'll increase. I don't know if it's going to make more than safeties, but tight ends are coming in at $10.9 million. There's your running back at 9.5, almost 6, 9,570,000, and your ST, what's that?
Special teamer. Kickers.
Special teamer. All the not a position, that's the whole.
Kickers and kick returners.
That's everybody.
Yes.
Everybody on special team. I'm like, what position is ST? Anyway, 5.2 million there for the franchise tag. And the funny thing is, therein lies the challenge for Adebo Samuels, who is a cross between a wide receiver, and as you can see, they're at 18.4 million, and a running back who is at 9.5 million. You know, that wear and tear really brings the value of running back down.
I don't look at him as a cross between two positions. He's a wide receiver that's been schemed up to run out of the backfield. He's not a cross. He's not a running back.
I think that that again, you might not look at him that way, but the question is the league, and especially the Niners, are they looking at him that way?
Well, of course, the Niners are going to look at him that way.
And again, as I said to you, even on Madden, in the updated version, he's the backup running back. He's literally listed on the depth chart behind Mitchell.
That's a shame. That's a shame. They look at a guy's skill set and they say, you know what? You can help us win games if we put these certain plays into our game plan. And you come out there and you bust your ass and you do this stuff and you're successful at it and you help the team, and then they try to use it against you. in salary negotiations. That's horrible. That's horrible.
And it makes it even more so if you're trying to be a free agent, the rest of the league is looking at you that way. But it's the same thing, I think, again, the challenge with Lamar Jackson. You know, you're a quarterback, but you're running the ball as much as your running backs. That's going to devalue you, because you're kind of that combo, in reality. If you're running like a normal out of the pocket guy, and every once in a while it breaks down and you take advantage and you take off, that's one thing. But if they're scheming you to run, that's a whole nother, that puts you in a whole nother ballpark right there. So I think, but I like seeing that chart because it kind of brought out the distinction between the positions and how they're valued in the league. So you don't get a chance to see that all the time and start, definition like that. All right. Anything else on that?
No, just that that can't be up to date, but it's pretty close.
Yeah, at least it's relative position to position, and that's the main.
A lot of guys have just signed some really big deals at different positions that are going to completely change those numbers.
And again, this is part of union contract language. So that update might not happen until the contract changes.
That's a possibility.
Yeah, yes, it gets to be a little crazy. All right, let's talk a couple fun things